There we go.
We're alive! It's alive!
Yes, welcome to episode 120 of Converse In The Ninjaverse. I'm Will.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Mike.
Long story short, shit happened. We took a month off.
It wasn't a month off. It was like
The last show went up July 15th. So almost a month. 3 weeks.
almost a month, I guess. 3 weeks.
And
Well, you know, Mike and I had family business to take care of, and you weren't around when we were back, and before we left, and when we were back. So here we are.
yes. Now, the three of you that are listening may notice that we're at episode 120. There is an episode 119, our Comic-Con special. That will come out soon. Trademark. But, yeah. So
I actually think it's a giant-sized Comic-Con episode, too. I think it's like an hour and a half of us.
It's pushing an hour, maybe even more.
About trailers.
Yes.
Just trailers, and more trailers.
Yes, but before we get to the trailer, let's talk about the box office this weekend.
The box office this weekend. Coming in at number 1 was Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
Which
took in $55.5 million. I'm hearing good things about it. I've actually heard good things about most of the Mission Impossible movies. I really enjoy the second one.
I always forget about that franchise until the new one comes out.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is. It's not something that's, front and center.
You're like, oh, they're still making them?
The first one came out 20 years ago.
Oh my God.
It really did. Yeah.
And
it had the best Emilio Estevez death scene ever.
The honest trailer they did an honest trailer for Mission Impossible that was pretty funny. I'm talking about the different directors putting their marquee things in it, and the characters essentially being all the same, and the plot being essentially the same in every episode, but they're still pretty good.
Holy shit.
And they said it in the 90s, when Hollywood was making TV movies out of all the TV shows your dad liked. And they showed like Mission Impossible and Beverly Hillbillies and more.
19 years ago.
Wow.
1996 it came out. May 22nd, 1996.
As I said, best Emilio Estevez death scene.
And Tom Cruise looks exactly the same in 20 years, so...
It's that Scientology. Magic. It's that Scientology. It keeps you young.
Devil magic.
It's all those good thetans.
I'm pretty sure Tom Cruise is like a clone of Tom Cruise.
He froze his brain and they just keep transplanting it.
And Tom Cruise keeps, comes back to these sequels now because they're talking about a sequel to Top Gun, which is 30-something years old now, I think.
Stop. Unless you're bringing back Goose, I don't want no part of it.
How do you bring back Goose? Goose is dead.
Stop talking about Goose. I know you want Goose back, Molly. Calm down.
Goose is dead.
I know.
Goose is very
dead as hell.
Goose could be with him like a Jedi. Blue Ghosty Goose.
He could be.
Blue Ghost.
There we go.
Totally buy it. Get on that.
There we go.
Paramount.
Coming in at number 2 was Vacation, $14.6 million. I am not hearing good things about it.
I think that's the same score it has on Rotten Tomatoes.
They really, I think, just kind of went for the lowbrow toilet humor, and I mean, not that there wasn't lowbrow toilet humor in the original Vacation.
What's been turning me off for it is that stupid scene where they're swimming in the cesspool or whatever.
Yeah, and that's me as well, where they're just going for, pardon the term, but they're going for a shitty laugh.
Yeah. How much did it bring in?
14.6, and that's in its first.
Oh my God! So it made less than its rating. Its rating is 24%. It's terrible. I'm looking at some of the reviews. There's so much dead air in the film that I wondered whether punchlines had been cleaved out to secure a PG-13 rating, but no, it's a hard, inexplicable R.
Yeah, there's just nothing about it that appeals to me.
Yeah, but you know what's funny is you watch the original Vacation, and that's just like a PG movie now.
It is.
But it's a PG movie, but it's to points. But then it has things in it that they would never do in a movie now.
Yeah.
Like the
dead grandmother on the roof.
The dead grandmother, the dead dog, my daddy says I'm the best French kisser.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's things like that they just would never do in a movie now.
the reviews for this are all over the board, though. Like, some of them say 4 stars, some of them say 1 stars. I guess it depends what you were looking for out of it.
Yeah, I didn't have high expectations going in, and I'm just not a really big Ed Helms fan.
He's good in...
He's good when he's part of an ensemble. Like on The Office, he was fun.
In Hangover?
First Hangover movie, he was fun, and then after that, it was just kind of the same Ed Helms.
Hangover 3 was actually pretty good.
Yeah, Hangover 3 wasn't bad.
It was better than 2. But now, based on Vacation, and I guess Marvel liked it enough, because the writers of Vacation are writing Spider-Man.
Oh, crap.
Well, I'm sure they're not going to fill Spider-Man with shit jokes.
No, they want to make it a John Hughes type movie.
Well, I mean, Spider-Man is supposed to, Spider-Man was the first John Hughes comic book.
True.
Yeah. So I don't know.
All right.
Coming in at number 3 was Ant-Man. Took in 12.8 for the weekend, $132.3 million. That's in its 3rd week.
Did you guys see it yet?
I did.
I haven't seen it yet.
I saw it opening weekend. I thought it was excellent. I mean, I see why it's the 2nd lowest grossing.
And we couldn't. I didn't get a chance to make it out to see it yet.
The thing is, kind of like what Chad said like a year or a year and a half ago when we had him on the show. Nobody knows who the hell Ant-Man is. And it sounds like a goofy thing, but the way they present it in the movie is really, really good. It's not kind of like Captain America 1 was a World War I or World War II picture. Captain America 2 was more of a spy espionage picture. Neither of them were superhero movies.
Yeah.
Ant-Man isn't a superhero movie. It's a heist movie with a superhero.
Yeah, I think Ant-Man, like, as excited as I am to see this movie, and I'll get out to see it eventually, maybe this upcoming weekend, I'm kind of feeling like Ant-Man probably should have gotten the Hawkeye treatment. Or,
once you see it,
to a lesser extent, to a lesser extent, the Black Widow treatment, where it's they show up in somebody else's movie to get introduced, as opposed to trying to, shoehorn him into his own movie, and with the fact that nobody really knows, not that nobody knows Ant-Man, but he's not one of Marvel's big hitters, basically.
He's not, but I mean, they're kind of like Hawkeye is now a big hitter in the comics. They're actually doing a whole new Ant-Man thing, but in the movie, the cast and like the heist crew and all that stuff, the ensemble really works super well together. Like there's chemistry all over, and I have to say the most impressive special effect in that movie takes place at the beginning. And, I mean, it's not going to spoil anything saying it, but you know how in Tron 2, Jeff Bridges, they de-aged him? Like,
Yes.
He looked a little wonky. They de-aged Michael Douglas to 1989 Michael Douglas. And he looks like 1989 Michael Douglas. That shit was impressive. And Victoria was all happy because shit happened, but yeah.
Yeah, I heard about the cameo. I heard about some of the cameos.
Oh my god!
What I did hear was Garrett Morris is in it.
Yes, which is the best fucking inside Ant-Man joke ever.
Yeah, ever.
The first appearance of live action Ant-Man
was on Saturday Night Live.
Yep. And I was like, and he has no lines. He's a taxi driver, and Ant-Man lands on the roof and he just kind of looks up like this. But it was great. Now there are two after credit scenes. There's a mid credit and the after credit. The first one is very good. The second one was definitely awesome. Like compared to Age of Ultron.
It couldn't have been that awesome because you had to think.
No,
about it.
I didn't want to.
Just been like the second one was awesome. This
the reason I had to think about it is because I almost said something. I almost said something that would have ruined something. So I had to edit myself in my head.
Okay.
But kind of like the after credit scene for Age of Ultron was a little lacking. The two scenes in Ant-Man make up for it.
Okay.
It was great. So
Yeah, I liked the Age of Ultron after credit scene.
I'm not saying it was bad, but it was definitely like...
And it just kind of got the point across. We watched, with our family travels and stuff, me and my brother watched Age of Ultron on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
And he hadn't seen it yet. So the movie wound up being longer than the plane ride.
Yep.
So he kind of got to... Tony Stark was getting ready to leave at the end, and they shut the movie off.
Oh.
So he missed the very end of them showing the new Avengers, and then he missed the... And he's like, oh, don't tell me about it, I'll see it later. I'm like, it was quick. I'm like, it's not like a huge pivotal plot point, and it's kind of easy to visualize if I just tell you about it.
Yeah. We'll talk more about
That was one of the things I liked about that scene.
Yeah, once you guys see it, we'll talk more about it. So, number 4.
Number 4 was Minions. Still. That took in that took in $12.3 million, $287.7 million. That's in its 4th week.
So
You know, it's a Minions movie. It looks fun as hell.
I'll see it when it comes out on Blu-ray.
Florida has been waterlogged for like a month, so I'm sure that a lot of that is people in Florida just going to see this movie over and over and over again.
Universal Studios just saying, here, go see
Mike and I experienced a lot of that waterlogginess a couple weeks or 2 weekends ago.
Every time we walked out of a building, it poured on us in Florida.
It did, except for when we needed it not to. And
Yes.
that was, you know.
Yeah.
And then coming in at number 5 is Pixels. That took in $10.5 million.
I want to see it, even though it's supposed to be
$7 million second week. Not doing great. I didn't expect much out of it, but I want to see it because it looks fun as hell. It looks fun as hell.
It has a lower score than Vacation.
Yeah.
It has a 50.
But
It has an 18%.
But it's also an Adam Sandler movie, and it's kind of hip to hate on Adam Sandler a little bit too. I think.
You know what you're getting with it. I mean,
That's the thing. I'm not expecting an Academy Award movie out of this. I'm expecting to see people get eaten by Pac-Man and barrels thrown at people by Donkey Kong.
Dude, and Dinklage has a fucking master mullet.
He does. So I'm not expecting much out of it, but I want to see it. I'll probably wait until it's across the street in the cheap theater, which will probably be tomorrow. But
And I do like that Dinklage is playing like the character from King of Kong.
Yes, he's playing the douchebag one.
He's playing the douchebag guy who's like, who kind of like is being as cool as that guy wishes he was in King of Kong.
The funny thing is, he kind of just looks like a smaller version of him almost.
He really does, and that was kind of when I saw the trailer, and I went, "Oh, he's playing the dude from King of Kong."
Mm-hmm. You have to suspend disbelief, though, when Kevin James is the president.
Yeah.
They're not going to have a president, Will Cooper.
Yeah.
Too close to Will Castillo.
You know what? We got to see Mark Cuban as the president.
You want to talk about Sharknado?
I think we should talk about Sharknado.
All right.
It's like 2 weeks old, but we haven't done a show, so we kind of need to...
Now, I haven't seen it, but I did listen to the How Did This Get Made? So I know basically some of the stuff that happens, except at the end, which we'll talk about.
Now, Mike, did you get around to seeing it?
I did see it. I saw the whole thing.
I don't think it wasn't as good as 1. It wasn't as self-aware as 2. I don't think. And I enjoyed it, but I was bored until I was starting to get bored until the very, very, very end, and then it just got all sorts of awesome.
It kind of didn't find its way until Hasselhoff showed up.
It didn't find its way until Hasselhoff showed up, and they made it into space.
All right, wait. As I said, I have not seen this movie. However,
I'm a spoil.
Wait. Let him say it.
No, I know that Ian Ziering is in Washington to get the Congressional Medal of Honor, whatever the fuck he's getting, and Tara Reid
for saving New York City.
Yeah, Tara Reid and Bo Derek are in Universal Studios, and I know not Tara Reid shows back up, and she's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, not Nova. No, we finally get the return of Nova. And she is all sorts of badass, and she's traveling with
Malcolm in the Middle.
Agent Cody Banks, or Malcolm in the Middle.
Agent Malcolm in the Middle.
You thought the dad from Malcolm in the Middle had a badass RV and
Breaking Bad. Oh, of course they had to give him an RV. And
they did.
I know now there's like shark activists that are like, kill all the sharks in the ocean, and then people are like,
well, that's kind of reflecting.
That happens right now. That's
right now, because people are forgetting that the sharks live in the fucking ocean, and people go swimming in the ocean and get eaten.
Yep.
Shit happens. But yeah, it took a little time to find his way. We got Mark Cuban as the president, which was fun. We got Lou Ferrigno as a Secret Service agent.
and Rick Fox's Secret Service.
And Rick Fox's Secret Service agent.
Lou was a terrible Secret Service agent.
And Coulter was vice president.
Was vice president.
Like a nightmare I had once.
Yeah, yeah. Although she did surf down a stairway on a picture of President Lincoln.
Yes.
Kind of interesting.
Okay.
And I did hear this great quote about Ann Coulter, and it was, "What justifies her to have all this credibility for the things that she says?
Who knows? Who knows?
What has she ever?" Okay, sorry, we're getting into Ann Coulter things.
We are, and let's not go there. But Finn runs in. He gets rescued by Nova because Finn now has this power. And I tried to explain it to Mary because we watched Sharknado 2 the other night because I was looking for something on Netflix to watch. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'm watching Sharknado 2. But I'm figuring that the way he got this power to be able to sense when the Sharknadoes are going to happen is when he got electrocuted on the top of the Empire State Building.
That could be it.
And I gotta say, Nova so much hotter than Tara Reid.
So much hotter than Tara Reid. But we'll get to the end of this movie. Lots of dumb cameos. Chris Jericho as Brad, the roller coaster operator.
The
roller coaster operator was fantastic. Probably one of my favorite moments involving Chris Jericho was when he was trying to rescue everybody off the top of the roller coaster, and the shark landed in the actual train and kept going up the loop. And then coming back down and getting closer. And going back up the loop, coming back down and getting closer. And then finally Chris Jericho gets eaten.
Of course he does.
Yeah,
in one of these movies, you know you're signing up to get eaten.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, wait.
Oh, Mark Cuban was the president, and he was Mark Cuban.
Yes.
Yes.
Because he references the other guy from Shark Tank getting killed in Sharknado 2.
Yeah.
The FUBU guy.
Yeah, the guy that got the shark landed on him or whatever.
Oh, there's so much.
Now, where this movie really... I mean, there's other things that happen. There's a bunch of there's the death scenes, the thing. But then it gets to the Sharknadoes are going to... There's a bunch of them popping up, and they're all going to, like, a perfect storm converge into a giant Sharknado or a Sharkicane or something.
I think they refer to it as a Sharkicane, and it's like up the entire East Coast.
Yeah. So the whole East Coast is going to be wiped out. They can't make propane bombs big enough to disperse it. So they have no choice but to go to NASA, where Finn's father works as an astronaut.
Finn's father, Gil.
Yes.
Makes sense, being that April's mother's name is May.
Man, Thunder fucking Luger, or whatever the hell his name is that writes this movie, he doesn't even try with the names.
No, he doesn't try with the names.
Thunder Liger writes these movies?
Oh, that would be so much.
No,
that would be so much awesomer.
Thunder Levin.
Just there, type in with the mask on.
You know what it might be?
Thunder Liger.
Maybe Thunder Levin is Thunder Liger, and he's writing these movies.
Maybe.
Maybe he's the villain in Sharknado 4.
Maybe
he's Jewish Thunder Liger.
Yes. Thunder Levin.
Be in NXT soon, so you know.
Yes.
But yeah, where it finally gets its
Fins.
Really gains its. Well, yeah, we'll say it really gains. We'll say gains its teeth. And kind of bites you and grabs you and sinks its teeth into you, is once they introduce David Hasselhoff's character, and they have to go into space to stop the giant Sharkacanado thing. The only thing that was missing was Lavalantulas.
Which Gutenberg apparently does show up, I heard.
Now, they need... They're going to use the Star Wars program.
Yes.
From
The Star
the
Wars,
80s.
the Star Wars laser defense system they're going to use to stop the Sharknado.
Okay.
And they're up there, and it's Ian Ziering, David Hasselhoff, and Tara Reid winds up on the spaceship somehow by accident.
But we forgot the one minor note regarding Tara Reid's character was not only does she have the hand with the saw, but it's kind of like a bionic switchblade hand thing, but she's also pregnant, which is important. Which is an important plot point for the end of this fucking movie.
I'm still stuck on Sharknado 2 when she literally had just her hand bitten off. And at the end of Sharknado 2, they pull out a whole forearm, but it's her hand.
It doesn't matter. You're thinking too much.
I know. Continue.
So, while in space, and they're getting ready to activate this space station, and David Hasselhoff has to go on an EVO. That's extravehicular operations, for those of you not trained as an astronaut.
On the moon?
Word.
No, on a space station.
Oh, okay.
That's no moon, it's a space station. The fucking moon. He's going to wind up on the moon.
Well, he might wind up on the moon. We're going to get Sharknado 4.
So, now sharks are flinging into space and getting into the space shuttle that the doors are open on.
How are they not just dying?
Wait. That's what that is a line in the movie. Tara Reid goes, "How are they surviving in space?" And Ian Ziering goes, "I don't know how they survive in the."
Fair.
Now, we'll back this up a second to David Hasselhoff and the jetpack. Was that the jetpack only has enough to get him over to the Star Wars defense system so he can reboot it and shoot the Sharknadoes with lasers. He can't get back to the space shuttle. So David Hasselhoff is now stuck in space.
Oh, he's going to come back to this. He's going to be flying the Millennium Falcon.
We don't know.
So, space shuttle destroyed. David Hasselhoff trapped in space. Tara Reid is devoured by a shark.
Allegedly.
No, you know what? We did forget another great moment in this movie.
Oh, yes. While in space, he has to battle the shark in outer space, in the vacuum of space.
Well, it was the shark coming into the compartment, like the bay of the ship. Well, Nova had given Finn a bag and to take on this ship, and sure as shit, Finn reaches into this bag and pulls out a fucking lightsaber chainsaw.
I heard about this. I don't understand.
So he's lopping up sharks with a lightsaber chainsaw.
Because fucking space.
What color was it?
Pink-ish
Was
red.
it really?
It was a pinkish, purplish, reddish.
Yeah.
So Tara Reid gets eaten by a shark. Ian Ziering gets eaten by a shark.
Well, Ian Ziering goes after her. He sees the great white, and he dives at it.
So that's what he does. He dives into open sharks' mouths to save people.
He doesn't. It's not a Sharknado movie.
So now he's inside a great white shark in space. The shark is now captured by the Earth's gravity.
And is re-entering the atmosphere. And as anything that would re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, it's burning up. It's cooking shark with Ian Ziering inside.
And presumably Tara Reid and...
Different shark.
Oh, it's a different... I'm sorry.
Shark.
I lost track.
He uses the great white shark as a heat shield to re-enter the Earth. He has a space parachute. He punches a hole through the burnt-up shark.
He does.
To release his parachute, so he doesn't.
The 3 parachutes, like it was like a fucking old school space capsule.
He gets out of the shark. He's searching for Tara Reid. He hears her calling him in a shark. He cuts the shark open.
No, she cuts the shark open herself.
Cuts the shark open from the inside. He reaches in, or he reaches to get her, and is handed the newborn baby that she gave birth to
in the shark.
In the belly of the shark
while it was cooking.
while it was
Now
falling.
I'm going on record saying that if in Sharknado 4 this baby does not have superhuman shark powers, somebody
Oh my God! Was it
fucked
the
up.
birth of Shark Boy? He's gonna have crazy teeth like Shark Boy.
It is.
And at the end, after all is well, and he salutes his father.
The baby?
Who is hanging out by the
No.
Star Wars defense system.
Oh, okay.
No,
in
at
space.
that point, he's on the moon.
Was he on the moon?
He was on the moon.
I didn't know. I thought he was still hanging out by
David
the space
Hasselhoff
system.
is standing on the moon with his
Fantastic.
backpack and a bunch of dead sharks, and he salutes back to Ian Ziering on Earth. But then pieces of space shuttle start falling from the sky.
Uh-oh. And is that where
And
the choice
one
comes
piece
in?
falls and is gonna crush Tara Reid. And the movie
cuts to black.
They Jason Todd it.
They
Jason
cut to black. Then they absolutely Jason Todd it. You were able to tweet out #AprilLives, #AprilDies, and we're not gonna know until next summer when Sharknado 4 premieres. And it really, as I said, the movie was I was kind of losing interest until they got into space, and then just fucking madness, and it was brilliant.
Oh wait, was that a picture of her as the thing's about to fall on her because she's all bloody and screaming at the sky?
But the other thing,
oh my
was,
God, that's a scary picture.
That is a scary picture. But the best thing was, we're watching this movie, and I turn to my wife and I go, I call shenanigans. Because a week prior to this movie coming out, my sister had a baby.
And didn't have shark
I'm a
powers?
proud uncle. And there was no fucking way in hell Tara Reid had a baby. Because she had this baby and was kind of standing there like, hey, I'm Tara Reid. And my sister, it's like 3 weeks later, and my sister is still wrecked.
I'm sure she's going to appreciate that you said she's wrecked.
She's wrecked. My sister is a mess. Yeah, she's probably milking it a little bit. But, yeah, no, there's no way Tara Reid had a baby and a shark.
And plus, yeah, I'm looking at this picture of her being bloody, yelling up at the sky.
Baby needs to have shark powers in the next movie.
All right. Here's the thing. I would vote April Dies because Nova's way hotter.
Absolutely. But
why are all these people campaigning for April Lives? Stop it.
Is there a
like
a tally total?
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a tally total, and apparently they're not releasing that. Oh, you can. I'm going to click April Dies right now. There we go. Thank you for your response. That's what I got. I didn't even have to think about that. Just, nope.
You had to think about that.
No, I said I didn't even have to think about it. I was like, oh, look at
you are a heartless
that
bastard.
child.
That's fine.
Nova will grow up with its shark powers with no parent.
Nova will make a great mom. That's fine. You know they're going to age that kid up growing pain style, and by Sharknado 4, everybody's going to be the same age except the kid's going to be 12.
Well, that's going to be part of the shark powers
in the same scene.
Absolutely, the baby's going to be a teenager in the middle of after they pick the piece of the space shuttle off of Tara Reid. This baby's going to be like 14 years old.
Now, because everything.
Hold that thought. I do want to go back to one more great moment in Sharknado.
Okay.
And that was Frankie Munoz's death. Which may have been the most epic death in any of the 3 Sharknado movies.
Really?
Where he's going back to this, not Tara Reid, or as we're now calling her, Nova, and Finn are flying a jet, and he's got to get back to the RV to give him some cover and shoot the sharks as the sharks are flying at the airplane. Well, as he's running back to the RV, a shark comes and takes a leg off. And then he hobbles on one leg over and climbs up on the roof of the RV, and then a shark comes and takes an arm off. Then another shark comes and takes his other leg off.
So he's
and then another shark takes his arm off, and there's got a switch on the top of the RV that's going to explode the RV, and sure enough, he has to push it with his nose because he's got no arms and no legs.
All right, I'm looking at this picture they have up for the April Lives, April Dies. Now, presumably, she just had a baby. Apparently, she must have given birth out of her mouth.
That's what I'm saying.
She's wearing shorts, like tiny, tiny shorts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she had been in a spacesuit.
She was in a spacesuit.
Okay. So what, she just squeeze over a leg of a short and pop out a kid?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Okay, well.
It is Tara Reid now.
Yeah. Maybe she's just... Yeah. April's dying. That's all I'm saying. If you don't vote April dies, you're not American. Because
I'm not so sure. I think we're going to see April back.
maybe she'll come back as half shark, half April.
Maybe.
Now, since everybody's trying to do this universe thing, they're alluding to a shared universe between the Lavalantulas and the Sharknadoes. Because Ian Ziering apparently runs through Lavalantula at one point, and Steve Guttenberg's like, "You gotta help us with these spiders," and he says, "I got a shark problem on my hands." And
makes sense.
Now, apparently Lavalantula was so successful, which I have not seen yet. I'm going to watch it probably this weekend. That they've already greenlit the sequel. The sequel has the best name for a sequel probably in all of time. Because it was Sharknado 1, then Sharknado 2. What was the subtitle for that one?
The second one.
Okay. And then this one was Oh Hell No. Now, Lavalantula's sequel, I shit you not, is named Two Lava, Two Lantula.
I love it.
It's great. So Steve Guttenberg will be fighting more Lavalantulas, I think, next year, because they poop out these movies so quick.
They really do. They really throw these movies out pretty fast.
Sci-fi has embraced what it is. Just the crappiest crap movies
but
that
that's
are
what we love about
awesomely entertaining.
That's what we love about it, and they deserve it because they spell sci-fi wrong.
And bring back more. Yes, that's true. And bring back more Nova. Put her in Lavalantula also. What's this? Okay, that's from the original Sharknado. I was looking up Nova pictures. All right. So moving on from sci-fi, let's move on to the Batman rumor for the day. For Batman v Superman: Dawn of the Justice Friends. A while ago, Jenna Malone was cast in Batman v Superman, and early rumor was pointing out that she was going to be Carrie Kelly, which is the female Robin from The Dark Knight. People were like, she's too old for that because Carrie Kelly was only like 13, 14 in the movie. Maybe they're aging her up, blah, 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 blah. Apparently, new stuff has come to light that Jenna Malone may actually be playing Barbara Gordon. Because people are saying that they talk about, I haven't heard it yet, but they talk about the Commissioner Gordon era. And some people are speculating that Commissioner Gordon was in the building that Zod and Superman demolished in Man of Steel, and that's why he's upset, and that's why he's running into the smoke. And he's all Batman. So, maybe. But I think having a live version Batgirl that's not Alicia Silverstone is a very good choice. Because...
You know what I think would be a better choice?
What?
Not shoehorning the entire fucking DC universe into one movie.
Here's the thing. I don't think she's going to be Batgirl. I think she's going to be Oracle, which would make sense. Because, I mean, if you anybody played the Arkham games, she basically runs Batman's stuff. Like, he contacts her, runs some samples. That's it. It wouldn't require a lot of screen time.
This movie hasn't even come out yet, and I'm exhausted.
The movie has to be at least 3 hours.
It's got to be. There's no way it can't.
It is definitely going to be at least 2.5. There's going to be an intermission. And a
There
show.
needs to be an intermission with like the silly music, the silly.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Yeah.
Let's all go to
Didn't
the
the first Lord of the Rings
lobby.
movie have an intermission?
Let's all go to the lobby.
What's that? Will?
I said, didn't the first Lord of the Rings movie have an intermission in theaters?
I don't know, but what I really think
I don't
they
think
should do-
anything has had an intermission since like Gandhi.
I think what they need to do. I think what they need to do is they need to have an intermission and have the intermission scene from Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail
Okay.
in the Batman and Superman.
Wait a second. I just was typing into Google, did Lord of the Rings have an intermission? And underneath that is, when does Lord of the Rings get interesting? I just wanted to point that out. Apparently some of the theaters did have an intermission for Lord of the Rings.
Maybe if they were doing the back-to-back ones.
Maybe. So yeah, Jenna Malone might be Oracle, Barbara Gordon, Batgirl. We don't know. Who knows? So many people in this movie.
Because there aren't enough people in this movie.
There aren't. I do like that Jeremy Irons is kind of a badass Alfred, though.
Yeah.
He's like Secret Service Alfred. Or Her Majesty's
like.
Royal Service. Whatever. In other movie news, anybody remember Marlon Wayans in the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
Marlon Wayans, who spent the early 2000s ruining every
everything.
all the cool stuff from when I was a kid.
Yes.
That they made into a movie. G.I. Joe.
You didn't like the
Dungeons and
accelerator
Dragons.
suits? You didn't like the accelerator suits? They were
What do they accelerate?
You. Stupid.
Piece of shit.
Well, Warner Brothers is now trying to get a Dungeons and Dragons movie off the ground. Now, they did attempt. There's been a couple Dungeons and Dragons movies. There was the terrible Marlon Wayans ones, and there was a direct-to-video sequel that did not star Marlon Wayans because I believe he died off in the movie. But they're trying to reboot Dungeons and Dragons.
You know, the direct-to-video sequel I like more than the theatrical one.
That's what I've heard.
And that theatrical one, I literally was watching it one time, and somebody walked in the room and goes, "Oh, is this Star Wars?" Because they dressed Tora Birch up exactly like Queen Amidala.
Really?
Okay.
And she's given like a big speech in that Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Ugh.
Like Queen Amidala.
Well, here's what I want from a Dungeons and Dragons movie, because I can watch any movie and get a fantasy movie. I want it to start with people playing Dungeons and Dragons, and then they get sucked in like the cartoon.
The problem with that is nobody except us remember that cartoon.
Yeah, and to me,
only like 15 episodes.
Well, here's the thing.
No.
Not only do so few people remember that cartoon, I remember the other Dungeons and Dragons cartoon that didn't have those kids.
Really?
That had Venger and had Tiamat, and it had regular Dungeons and Dragons characters. There was a knight. There were a couple other people. There was a shorter run Dungeons and Dragons cartoon that came before that one that was done more serious and it didn't have people from the real world in it.
I think
Dungeons and Dragons movie should look like The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. And I think the only cartoon from our childhood that is remembered less than the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon is Kid Video.
My God, don't you dare besmirch Kid Video.
I love Kid Video.
Stop it. I was just
love
thinking of Kid Video. From my
I don't know. I just bought a copy of
my
Dino
radio.
Riders.
Love that cartoon.
I recently watched an episode of Kid Video on YouTube, but I bought the complete the first and only season of Dino Riders.
Oh my God.
Ooh, Dino Riders.
When you want to talk about obscure cartoons.
Oh, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. That's a good one too. There was 28 episodes of the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, the one I'm thinking of.
Wow, that's like
3 years.
That's like 14 more episodes than I thought.
Yeah, it was one season was 13 episodes, and the next 2 seasons were like 6. Poor Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. But just give me something fun. I mean, I just don't want a standard fantasy movie. I want to see a beholder.
We're not going to get that. We're going to get your white noise John Carter fantasy movie.
Oh my God, it's going to probably do better than John Carter. We're still kicking him. We can't stop kicking John Carter.
Well,
we've been doing this for 3 years.
You missed it. I watched it.
Yeah, you were saying, I think, a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, It wasn't that bad a movie. It doesn't deserve all the shit it's taken.
Listen.
It's not that bad a movie.
All right. Well, we got some Star Wars, a little bit of Star Wars news. First of all, it's 4 months till Star Wars is coming out.
Yay!
And pre-sales for tickets are apparently going to start in September and October.
I'm getting online tomorrow.
I know.
I'm quitting my job. I'm getting online tomorrow.
You're going to be a professional line waiter for Star Wars.
I'm going to be a professional line waiter.
They're highlighting that certain scenes were filmed in IMAX. It looks like the running away from the explosion in the desert was filmed in IMAX. Millennium Falcon flying around in IMAX. I mean, I'm so excited. Yeah. Pre-sale tickets for the movie will go on sale sometime between mid-September and mid-October. So, yes.
Yeah, I will be buying my tickets in September.
Me too, as soon as they go on sale.
Yeah.
We're going with Stacy to go see it.
I know.
It's going to be fun. Additionally, 2 separate film prints will be playing through the projector in order to achieve 3D. So are they running 3 films tandem to make the 3D effect? That's interesting. I don't know, whatever. I want to see Star Wars now. Alright. Do you guys have anything else? Because I have the story that I'm waiting for last, because we're going to talk about the Philly story last.
Well, we'll talk about the Philly story.
I would like to say something about a man that, even though I have only met him twice.
Oh yeah, we have to talk about that.
I lost a friend.
We all lost a friend.
I lost a childhood hero.
We lost a friend.
You know what we lost? He was the villain.
I know, but he was my hero.
One of the greatest villains of the '80s in that genre. If you look at talk about '80s villains. And you have Megatron, and you have Cobra Commander, and you have Darth Vader, and then if in 80s wrestling, you had Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Yes, you did.
And if the way I was looking at it was, if there was ever a villain who got a happy ending, it was Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And for just such a personable guy, guy who went through a ton of shit as a kid, who, when people talk about demons and talk about how hard their life was, the life that guy had as a kid, and then the way he was able to turn it around and get what he was, and to get the 61 years that he had out of it,
mm-hmm.
and to become a multimedia icon, that he was the wrestler, and he was and They Live, which is
one of the greatest John Carpenter movies
a sci-fi. It's top 3 John Carpenter movies of all time, and you put a wrestler in it who did a fantastic job of portraying that every man down on his luck, everything's working against him, and he stood up and tried to do it on his own. It's a perfect metaphor. It's a perfect synopsis of Roddy Piper's life.
And I don't even know if you guys know this, but that movie was so influential that in Saints Row 4, Keith David is your vice president.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an alien takeover, and everybody's put into like Matrix type things, and you have to go rescue them from their nightmare scenarios. So your character goes into Keith David's nightmare scenario, and you hear bagpipes. And you're like, what the fuck? And you're turning the corner, and Keith David's nightmare scenario is being forced to relive the fight with Rowdy Roddy Piper from They Live. And so Rowdy Roddy Piper is in Saints Row 4 as himself, beating the shit out of Keith David.
Nice.
And once you finish that scenario, you get Rowdy Roddy Piper as a character on your crew. You can call him up.
And I've probably told this story before, but growing up where I grew up, there was always this urban legend that Roddy Piper lived in the apartments next to Toys R Us.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling this story to my wife like a night or two ago.
And when I met Roddy Piper the first time 10, 12 years ago, and we started talking about it, and he's like, oh yeah, I lived over there. And when I was talking with Roddy Piper last year, I was talking to him again about it. And he was telling me, he was laughing about the stories. He was talking about living with Don Morocco and Bob Orton over there in the apartments. And he goes, and he just kind of leans in and he looks at me and he goes, "Do you know the Howard Johnson up this road?" And there's this Howard Johnson hotel up the road, and it's still there. And he goes, "The devil lived there." Because that's where they used to go to score drugs. And I mean, probably to this day, people, I'm sure right now, and that Howard Johnson isn't too far from where I am right now, I'm sure somebody's scoring drugs at that Howard Johnson right now. But the way the pathos and the way this guy just kind of leaned in and told me that, and it was this brilliant thing of, in just that sentence and the look in his eyes, you could tell, with him saying that the devil lives there, it's like, I had a fantastic time doing what I did, even though it almost killed. It was a dude who tempted fate and lived on that edge and did everything and survived to tell about it, and later in life just kind of wanted to be happy with a family and with a nice place up in Portland, Oregon. And that's the life he got to live. Mm-hmm. And he was a great character, and he was a great person. Yeah. And everything. You never hear anybody tell a bad story about Roddy Piper.
No, and this is another thing regarding Piper is I'm pretty sure it's on the network. If it's not, I'm sure it's going to be. There was the Piper documentary. I think it's called Born of Controversy.
Yeah, I think you're right.
If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it because it really puts Piper into perspective as to how he went from, really, really bad beginnings as a kid and being, in foster homes and orphaned and all that stuff to being where he was and being the icon that he is. So I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it. I'm trying to find the picture. The Roddy Piper, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, Gates of Heaven picture. I can't locate it right now. I'll find it later.
I saw that one.
We've lost we've lost a lot of our wrestling childhood in the past couple weeks. 3-4 weeks ago we lost Dusty. We've lost Piper. In the past year we lost Warrior. Hogan's disappeared.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel Back to the Future with the picture. It's like he's just gone.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan needs to kill Bubba the Love Sponge.
I will help Hulk Hogan kill Bubba the Love Sponge.
I can't even believe Bubba the Love Sponge is still a thing.
That is I am a radio guy. I went to school for radio, and that is hands down the worst radio name ever.
Mm-hmm.
Worse than Mancow?
Worse than Mancow.
Okay.
That's another terrible, terrible one. All right. So.
All right. Real quick on a lighter note.
Okay.
I had an interaction over the weekend at Monster Mania that was something I've wanted to do my whole life. Well, the better part of my whole life. I got a beer for Norm Peterson.
Nice.
I met George Wendt.
That's awesome.
And I got a beer for George Wendt. I got it was actually a microbrewery, Cypress Brewing, here in Edison, New Jersey. That's run by some people I know. I figured if these guys are starting up a brewery, they want to get their hands on the world's most famous beer drinker. And I went and I talked a little bit about beer with Norm. And a childhood dream has been accomplished.
Nice.
Awesome.
When I was a little child, I dreamed of being a fat guy that drank beers with Norm, and that's where I went, and I accomplished that this weekend. I can check it off on a bucket list.
Nice. Going back to Piper real quick. I mean, we don't talk much UFC or anything on the show usually.
Oh, yeah.
But Ronda Rousey dedicated her fight this past weekend to Roddy Piper because
Ronda Rousey had a fight this weekend? Is that what that
sort of.
was?
Actually, Ronda Rousey had a mugging this weekend.
Yeah.
But she dedicated her fight to Piper because he gave her permission to use the Rowdy name in front and all that stuff.
When she wanted to use the Rowdy name, she called him up,
Mhm.
and asked, and he said, I remember seeing an interview with him. He's like, she called me up out of the blue. I'd never met her before. She called me up out of the blue, asked me about it. We had a nice conversation. He's like, what a great, sweet, respectful person. And
by all accounts, she's awesome.
Yeah. Well, even Friday, I was at the Monster Mania convention, and word spread through the convention, kind of like a fire. I got a text message from Chris about it,
and when I messaged you on Friday, the only place I could find it was TMZ, and I'm like, they're usually not wrong, but I couldn't find it anywhere. And then all of a sudden, it just caught fire. And I have to say, that was one of the hardest celebrity deaths I ever had to tell my wife about, because she had fallen in love with Piper. Her first real introduction to Piper was Legends House.
Mm.
And the relationship between her and Hacksaw, or between him and Hacksaw, made the show. And Mary looked at me and said, "Poor Hacksaw." So that was, but that's how it was. I was like, I got the news Friday and just was like,
yeah.
Well, right after I heard it, it went through, and that's all everybody was talking about in the convention. And Ted DiBiase, X-Pac, and Ron Simmons were there. They were in a different room than us, but they were all broken up about it. They got the news right then,
Wow.
the same time I did, and everybody took it hard. But what was beautiful was the next day at the convention, the amount of Hot Rod shirts, the amount of They Live shirts, the amount of Piper stuff that you saw. Everybody went out and dug out their, made sure that they wore their They Live stuff or their Roddy Piper stuff that day. For, because everybody loved the guy.
Yeah.
For one thing or another, whether it be wrestling or whether it be that movie, he had those two moments in time, or more than just two moments, but those two things, and it hung with everybody. And then when I saw a little bit later that Ronda Rousey had tweeted on Friday that she was dedicating the fight on Saturday to Roddy Piper, and I'm like, oh, she's gonna kill this bitch.
Oh, and here's what
she's already mad enough.
Here's what led to the bad blood between her and this Beth Correa. So apparently, Ronda Rousey's father committed suicide at some point in his life. And she said in May about Ronda Rousey, under pressure, she is proving weak. When her mom put pressure on her, she ran away from home. When she lost, it was because of drugs. It's not a superhero. That's not a superhero. She is not mentally healthy. She needs to take care of herself. She is winning, so everybody around is cheering her up. But when she realizes she's not everything that she believes she is, I don't know what might happen. I hope she doesn't kill herself later on. Now,
and Ronda Rousey proceeded to get in the ring with this bitch and say, "Pow!"
34 seconds. Longer than a Mike Tyson fight in his heyday.
Not by much.
But not by much. But I watched the video. I mean, this is one of those things you pay $60 on pay-per-view.
I saw a great meme regarding that. Was like, everybody. I feel bad for those people those poor suckers that paid $60 for the Ronda Rousey fight. I just watched.
It's the Goodfellas meme. It's Ray Liotta.
Yeah. It's like I just watched it on YouTube or Facebook.
Oh, she mugged this poor girl.
Oh, she mugged her. And the thing was, a lot of people were like, "Oh, she doesn't have good stand-up game. She doesn't have good stand-up game." She said, "Oh, really?"
I'm sorry. You got her running at you, punching you in the face. You're done.
Like a fucking bull in a china shop, man. She just right at her and just.
And then she said to her, after she knocked her down, she took her mouth guard out. She said, "Don't cry." I was like, "Whoop." She ain't playing. Just nope. Now, I have two stories actually. One actually just started happening. This was earlier today. So this is recent. Where is this? Ireland. Here, I'm gonna read the headline.
I saw this.
Giant minion terrorizes drivers in Ireland as 40-foot
Yes.
inflatable blocks
Yes,
Dublin
I saw
Road.
that. I meant to send that to my brother-in-law.
Oh. So Kevin the Minion fell over in the middle of the road and blocked traffic because very strong winds knocked over this giant inflatable minion in the road, and it was just blocking up traffic. A 15-minute traffic jam as the owners from a local business carted over the giant yellow inflatable in a wheelbarrow. They had to deflate him to get him in the wheelbarrow to wheel him away.
That's fantastic.
So
Yeah, I saw the picture. That's a big ass minion.
Yeah,
Larry.
it's a big-ass
minion.
oh my god, if that thing started rolling, that's a sci-fi movie right there.
Right there. Attack of the 50-foot minion.
Yes. Minion Apocalypse. Oh my god, that's great. Now, in a sadder story, but it's really just proves that this is why we can't have nice things in America.
Like I'm not gonna go off on like as a country we
No,
suck.
but we are going off.
I'm gonna go off on as a city.
A little backstory.
This city is the biggest cesspool of just hatred and evil,
Okay. So these two.
and some of the worst sports franchises in the history of sports franchises.
Let me get there. All right. So these two doctors from Ryerson University, David Smith, actually, no, I'm sorry, one of them's from Ryerson, Frauk Zeller of Ryerson, and David Smith of McMaster, whatever, University, created this little robot. He can't walk. He has a little smiley LED face, and his whole thing is, his name is Hitchbot, and he has to traverse countries, but he can't walk, so he's relying on the kindness of strangers.
And he's adorable.
He is adorable. He has successfully traversed Canada, Germany, and the Netherlands. Not America.
He didn't last 2 days in America.
In America, he started in Boston and made it as far as Philly.
From this point forward, this is gonna hurt, but I will never say a bad thing about Boston again. Because poor little adorable Hitchbot made it out of Boston.
He made it out of Boston through New York.
Through New York, through our beloved home state, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Got to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia just fucked everything up.
Murdered.
Like Philadelphia does.
Yes. Last weekend, the team reported that he'd been vandalized and damaged. Also, in parentheses, decapitated by monsters in Philadelphia.
He had his fucking arms ripped off.
Yes, and the last person to actually pick him up and drive him is the guy who runs Prank vs. Prank, which is a YouTube channel where it's this guy and his girlfriend, and they just do pranks on each other all the time. They live in Philly. They did a pretty funny Walking Dead one. He picked them up somewhere in South Street and just then dropped them off. Like he drove around with them for a couple hours and dropped them off. And now there's security footage of this guy in a number 12 Eagles jersey just beating the shit out of Hitchbot.
Guy in a Randall Cunningham jersey beating the hell out of Hitchbot.
Mm-hmm.
What is this world coming to?
You know, if you had to ask me, if a guy if Canadians were going to build a hitchhiking robot, and one day it would be murdered by a guy in an NFL jersey, what jersey is that man wearing? There's only two. I would ask you, what coast is it on? If it was the West Coast, I was a Raiders fan. But you just knew it was going to be an Eagles fan.
Yeah, there really is. I would say like Eagles fan, maybe a Raiders fan, but like I have too much respect for the Raider fans to even really lump them in with the Eagle fans. Because the Eagle fans and the Philly fans in general, and I know I'm going to probably alienate some people right here, but you are the worst fans in the history of sports, and you killed the defenseless robot.
Yes, Hitchbot set out on his journey July 17th in Salem, Massachusetts. Yeah, so we're less than a month later. And this is the official statement from the Hitchbot team. Hitchbot's trip came to an end last night in Philadelphia after having spent a little over 2 weeks hitchhiking and visiting sites in Boston, Salem, Gloucester, Marblehead, and New York City. Unfortunately, Hitchbot was vandalized overnight in Philadelphia. Sometimes bad things happen to good robots. We know that many of Hitchbot's fans will be disappointed, but we want them to be assured that this great experiment is not over. For now, we will focus on the question, what can be learned from this, and explore future adventures for robots and humans.
Don't go to Philadelphia.
When the robot uprising starts, this guy everybody in the number 12 jersey in Philly is probably going to get eradicated. Just saying. He had pool noodles for arms. How do you beat up something that has pool noodles for arms?
He was adorable. How do you do that? But then again, these are the same people that booed Santa Claus and threw ice at the Green Bay Packers and cheered Michael Irvin almost breaking his neck. So,
that being said, I will be attending the Cheese Steak Festival in October in Philly because, goddamn, I love a cheesesteak. But I'm not bringing any robots with me.
No, don't bring any robots with you. I wouldn't even bring your family with you.
That's terrible. We'll just drive into the cheesesteaks and drive out.
You know what? Just come out to Harrisburg. I will make you the best cheesesteak you've ever had.
That's a possibility.
Because I make an awesome cheesesteak.
So, R.I.P. Roddy Piper and R.I.P. Hitchbot.
But Hitchbot will rise again.
Yes, he will. And he's going to have defense mechanisms.
Totally is going to have defense mechanisms.
Oh my God!
Is this how Skynet starts?
Speaking of defense mechanisms, and then we can go.
Skynet started from Hitchbot.
Yeah, exactly.
They were right. The machines were right all along.
Mm-hmm.
I caught this video on
Ultron. This is how Ultron starts.
That's exactly how Ultron started. This is a little tiny robot Hitch.
Oh, the next person that tries to vandalize Hitchbot's getting shocked.
But this is kind of on the same topic, but it was something I saw on Tasha's website yesterday or whatever. But it's this YouTube video of this kid who just got a taser.
Oh God!
So he's talking smack about this taser, and I got a taser, and blah 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 blah. So he's shocking shit. Well, obviously this dude never went to school, cause he grabbed a piece of metal, and I'm gonna shock this. And for those of you that aren't watching, we'll just dropped his head and put his head in his hand. Idiot takes his stun gun and puts it into the metal, and dude went to sleep. So I may have to find that video and post it on the Facebook page.
Yes, do that.
Because that's what Hitchbot is gonna have from now on. He's gonna clamp a piece of metal on you and shock the shit out of you.
What happens is the LED face has to change to a sky, and then he snaps you.
You know what it has? It has to be like the little tiny robot in Big Hero 6. I want Hitchbot with just 2 tasers for arms, just shocking everything inside.
Make my day. Make my day. Oh my God, Hitchbot will rise again, and he's gonna. If he better go around Philly.
I think Hitchbot is just gonna bypass Philly.
Yeah, he's gonna start on the West Coast, and then travel as far as Philly. I'll bet you if he started on the West Coast, he'd get pretty far.
Unless he ran into a bunch of Raider fans.
All right,
But
start him in Oregon.
Then he would die of dysentery.
Sure. All right, and on that note,
it took you a second. I'm disappointed that it.
Oh, I got it instantly. I'm just I can't believe you did a video game joke. That's the video game that's relevant to you. Fucking 40 years old.
Oregon Trail. I know what he meant.
You can download that on your phone now.
You totally can.
All right.
I saw a great meme, like the updated version of that, and it was like a dude just like beat like two guys standing there, and the next one was like one of the guys like beaten up with like an arrow through his head, and it said, "You died of dissing Terry."
Nice.
I think that's fantastic.
Nice. All right. Well, you guys know where to find us. Ninjaverse.wordpress.com, Facebook.com/The Ninjaverse, YouTube.com/Ninjaverse, Twitter, all that good stuff, Tumblr. So I'm Will,
I'm Chris.
I'm Mike.
and we'll see you next week.
And Philly, you should be fucking ashamed of yourselves.